Have you ever experienced this feeling? You meet an acquaintance, enjoy coffee, and chat for about an hour. The conversation seems quite normal. There's no argument or tension. Yet when you leave, you feel strangely drained, as if someone has silently siphoned off your energy, leaving behind an invisible exhaustion that weighs on your mind. This is especially puzzling because the conversation wasn't negative in any way. There were no excessive complaints, evident stress, or even moments of laughter. And yet somehow, the interaction leaves you feeling depleted, as if your spirit has been eroded without a clear reason. Now, compare this to other people in your life, those rare individuals who, even after hours of intense discussion or complex debates, still leave you feeling energized. They may even make you feel more alive, inspired, and motivated to take action. They don't just listen to you, they empower you as if connecting you to an invisible, yet vibrant energy flow. What creates this difference? Why do some people drain us while others make us stronger? This isn't merely a matter of personality compatibility or communication skills. This phenomenon caught the attention of one of the greatest thinkers in psychology, Carl Jung. The Swiss psychiatrist spent years exploring the deepest aspects of the human psyche, particularly how energy is transmitted in relationships. According to Jung, the difference goes beyond personality types. Invisible forces are also at play within the unconscious that shape how people interact. Due to their psychological makeup or complex inner experiences, some individuals unintentionally become black holes that absorb energy from those around them. In contrast, others can radiate vitality, bringing a sense of peace or strong inspiration without exerting force. So, how can we recognize and adjust our relationships to avoid being drained of energy? How can we protect ourselves from the negative effects of daily interactions? Today, we will explore Jung's profound insights to understand this phenomenon and discover ways to balance energy in our relationships. To understand Carl Jung's perspective on people who can drain others' energy, we must first explore the concept of psychic energy, a core element in his theory, which he referred to as libido. When hearing the term libido, many people immediately associate it with Sigmund Freud, who used it to describe sexual energy, a fundamental drive that, according to him, governs human behavior and psychology. However, Jung had a broader and more profound view. He did not limit libido to physiological instincts, but instead expanded it into a dynamic life force that fuels all psychological activities. According to Jung, libido is not merely sexual desire. Rather, it is a flow of energy that nourishes all aspects of the mind, from thoughts, emotions, and intuition to creativity and the ability to connect with others. This energy is essential for maintaining motivation, exploring the self, and building meaningful relationships. Jung envisioned this energy as a continuous flow between the conscious and unconscious mind, regulating our mental processes like blood circulation and delivering oxygen and nutrients to the body. When the libido flows smoothly, we feel full of life, creative, and deeply connected to the world. Conversely, when this flow is blocked, weakened, or misdirected, psychological disturbances may arise, ranging from exhaustion, confusion, and depression to profound inner conflicts. This is why, in daily interactions, when you feel drained after a conversation or social encounter, it may be related to how your libido flow is affected. Some people tend, consciously or unconsciously, to deplete the energy of those around them. On the other hand, some individuals can replenish energy, making you feel stronger and more inspired. One of Carl Jung's most significant discoveries was recognizing that human relationships are not merely about verbal communication or actions, but involve an exchange of psychic energy. Whether we are aware of it or not, every conversation and every interaction acts as a flow of energy between two individuals. Some relationships bring about balance, where both people leave feeling uplifted and re-energized. After such conversations, you gain information and feel inspired, as if your inner self has been recharged with a fresh source of energy. These relationships foster growth, ignite creativity, strengthen the spirit, and enrich life. However, not all energy exchanges occur this way. You have likely experienced meetings where you walk away feeling drained despite the absence of conflict or tension. The other person may not say anything particularly negative, yet somehow, after parting ways, your mind feels heavy, your spirit exhausted, as if your life force has been siphoned away. Meanwhile, the other person seems to leave feeling better, more energized, and even excited. These experiences are not just fleeting emotions or subjective imagination. According to Jung, they reflect real psychological processes operating beneath our conscious awareness. Some individuals, intentionally or unintentionally, absorb more energy than they give back. They function like black holes, draining the vitality of those around them without needing to say or do much. On the other hand, there are also people whose mere presence makes you feel stronger, more confident, and motivated to move forward. Think about the relationships in your life. Who makes you feel energized? Someone you can talk to for hours and still feel excited, inspired, and ready to take action afterward. And who leaves you feeling drained, as if a brief interaction with them pulls your mind into a heavy, dark place. Where does this difference come from? What makes some people an energy source, while others leave you emotionally exhausted? Jung believed that the answer lies in differences in personality or communication styles and unconscious psychological forces at play within each person. To better understand this, we must delve into the nature of energy exchange in relationships and discover how to protect ourselves from psychological depletion. Projection, the hidden force behind energy drainers. Carl Jung identified several key psychological mechanisms that explain why some people have an almost parasitic ability to drain others' energy. One of the most significant is projection, an unconscious mental process that can profoundly impact relationships. Jung believed that within every individual, aspects of the self are difficult to accept, traits we feel ashamed of, fear, or refuse to confront. These may include insecurities, guilt, unresolved wounds, or desires that don't align with the self-image we want to maintain. Instead of acknowledging and processing these emotions, people unconsciously project them onto others, attributing these unwanted qualities to those around them. Those who drain energy from others often exhibit the strongest tendencies toward projection. Rather than facing their own negative emotions, fears, or unresolved pain, they offload these burdens onto those around them. In doing so, they turn others into mirrors, reflecting the turmoil they refuse to confront. For example, a person who feels deeply insecure may project criticism and judgment onto others, making those around them feel self-conscious and defensive. Someone harbors unresolved anger or bitterness may subtly manipulate conversations to provoke conflict or negativity, even in seemingly casual discussions. People who suppress their emotional wounds may seek out empathetic individuals to unconsciously transfer their pain, leaving the listener emotionally exhausted. This subtle but powerful process explains why some interactions feel uplifting and energizing while others leave us drained and depleted. Recognizing projection and its effects is crucial to maintaining psychological well-being and ensuring healthy energy exchanges in relationships. Imagine having a colleague who constantly doubts your abilities. It's not because your work is ineffective, but rather because they feel insecure about their competence. Instead of admitting their worries about their performance, they criticize your work repeatedly, making you question yourself. No matter how much effort you put in, their persistent criticism can erode your confidence, making you feel like something is fundamentally wrong with your actions. Or perhaps you know someone who always complains about being treated unfairly, insisting that no one truly values or respects them. At first, you may feel empathy, wanting to comfort them. But over time, You realize they aren't just talking about their struggles. They start projecting guilt onto you as well. They might subtly suggest that you, too, are mistreating them, or that you're not caring enough. Unconsciously, you find yourself on the defensive, trying to prove that you're not the cold, neglectful person they make you out to be. When you find yourself trapped in situations like these, you are not merely engaging in ordinary communication. You are carrying the unresolved emotional burdens of the other person. They are offloading their pain, insecurities, and unhealed wounds onto you without even realizing it. As a result, you are forced to deal with their behavior and the deep emotional baggage they refuse to confront. Unsurprisingly, you feel mentally drained after interacting with such individuals, as if your spirit has been worn down invisibly. Projection harms both the target and the projector. Projection doesn't just harm the affected person, it also distances the projector from their self-awareness. Instead of facing their internal struggles, they shift blame, manipulate, or impose their emotional burdens onto others. Recognizing when you are the target of projection is crucial. By being aware of this dynamic, you can set boundaries, detach from the emotional weight imposed on you, and protect your energy. One of the key psychological mechanisms Carl Jung discussed is emotional contagion, a phenomenon where one person's emotions can unconsciously spread to others, much like a psychological virus. When you are around someone anxious, angry, or fearful, you may find that your mood is affected, even if there is no clear reason for it. This phenomenon is not just a coincidence or a subjective illusion. It has been scientifically proven. Neuroscientific research on mirror neurons, a special type of brain cell, has shown that the human brain has an automatic ability to mimic and internalize the emotions of others. These neurons help us empathize and connect, but also make us highly susceptible to absorbing negative and positive energy from our surroundings. Imagine walking into a room where someone is radiating stress and anxiety. Even if they don't say a word, you can feel the heavy atmosphere around them. You start to feel uneasy, restless, or tense without understanding why. This happens because your brain unconsciously synchronizes with your emotional state. Much like a musical instrument starts vibrating when placed near another instrument, playing at the same frequency. This emotional transmission becomes even more powerful when constantly exposed to people with persistent negative energy. If you have a friend who always complains about life, exaggerates problems, and sees everything through a pessimistic lens, you may gradually notice that their negativity seeps into your own way of thinking. At first, you might listen with detachment, but over time, you begin to feel that life is more difficult and discouraging. Their worries slowly become yours. Their insecurities begin to take root in your mind, and you carry an invisible weight that does not belong to you without realizing it. This effect is also common in the workplace. A colleague constantly complains about their job, boss, or team, which can slowly drain your motivation, even if you previously enjoyed your work. In a group setting, just one highly stressed or negative individual can affect the entire atmosphere, making everyone feel more pressured and uneasy. The most dangerous aspect of emotional contagion is that it operates silently. It's easy to become unintentionally drawn into someone else's emotional state without realizing it. One day, you might find yourself wondering, why do I feel so exhausted and unmotivated? Without realizing that the feelings you're experiencing may not even be yours. They could be emotions you've absorbed from someone else. So, how can you prevent yourself from being affected by negative emotional contagion? Awareness is the first step. When you notice your mood shifting without a clear reason, ask yourself, is this feeling truly mine, or have I picked it up from someone else? Beyond awareness, you can also set emotional boundaries. Be mindful of how much energy you invest in emotionally demanding people. Distance yourself from negativity. Limit exposure to individuals who constantly drain your energy. Seek positive environments. Surround yourself with people and spaces that uplift and inspire you. By consciously managing your emotional environment, you can protect your mental well-being and maintain a healthier, more balanced state of mind. Finally, one of the most important concepts in Carl Jung's psychology is the shadow, the unconscious parts of ourselves that we try to deny or refuse to acknowledge. Jung believed that every person carries a hidden side, containing traits, emotions, and impulses that are difficult to accept or do not align with their ideal self-image. The shadow is not inherently evil or dangerous. It simply represents aspects of the self that have not yet been integrated into conscious awareness. For instance, if someone believes they are gentle and kind, their shadow may include aggression or anger, parts of themselves they refuse to admit exist. If another person sees themselves as rational and emotionally controlled, their shadow might contain impulsiveness or irrational desires that they suppress. The real issue is not the existence of the shadow, but rather how we deal with it. People who refuse to face and accept their hidden aspects often end up unconsciously projecting them outward in ways that can harm those around them, without even realizing it. This is how they may become energy-draining individuals, leaving others feeling exhausted and emotionally depleted. Imagine someone who prides themselves on being calm and believes they never get angry. But anger doesn't disappear just because we ignore it. Instead of expressing it openly, they might display passive-aggressive behavior, making sarcastic remarks, subtly manipulating others, or creating tense situations unconsciously. Those around them might feel uncomfortable and drained, but can't pinpoint why. They only know that after being around this person, they feel mentally and emotionally exhausted, a clear sign of negative energy exchange. Another example is a person who sees themselves as strong and fearless. If they completely reject their fears instead of confronting them, they might unconsciously cling to others for reassurance. They may constantly seek advice and emotional support, repeatedly turning to you for help with problems they are unwilling to face themselves. At first, you may feel like you're just being supportive, but over time you realize that you have become their sole source of emotional stability while your energy slowly drains. Those who fail to integrate their shadow are often unaware of how much they affect others. They do not realize that the qualities they refuse to acknowledge in themselves secretly control their behavior, causing them to sap the energy of those around them. Even more unsettling, they might make you feel as though something is wrong with you when, in reality, you are simply reacting to their inner imbalance. So, how do you deal with these individuals without becoming emotionally exhausted yourself? First, recognize when you are being affected by someone else's shadow. If you start to feel tense, drained, or entangled in issues that don't belong to you, take a step back and ask yourself, are these emotions truly mine? Or am I reacting to someone else's unresolved inner struggles? At the same time, it is equally important to face your own shadow. The more you understand your unconscious aspects, the less susceptible you will be to the psychological imbalances of others. By acknowledging and integrating your hidden traits, you gain control over your energy and become more resilient to external influences. Carl Jung helped us understand why some people can drain others' energy and proposed important strategies to protect ourselves from mental exhaustion. If you often feel drained, unmotivated, or negatively affected by those around you, it's time to take control and actively build a defense system for your energy. 1. Become aware of your energy levels. The first step in protecting your energy is observing and recognizing your energy levels. Pay attention to how you feel before, during, and after interactions with different people. Do you feel energized, uplifted, and inspired after meeting someone? Or do you feel drained, heavy, and emotionally depleted? If you notice that certain people consistently leave you feeling exhausted or anxious for no clear reason, this may indicate that you are experiencing an unhealthy energy exchange. By identifying which interactions uplift you and which ones drain you, You can make wiser decisions about the relationships you invest in. 2. Set clear boundaries. Many people become energy drained, not because they are weak, but because they haven't learned how to set boundaries. Without clear limits, those who habitually consume others' energy will continue to intrude on your emotional space, leaving you feeling out of control and depleted. Learning to say no is a crucial skill. If someone constantly seeks your attention, complains, or emotionally manipulates you, remember, you are not responsible for carrying everyone else's emotions. Setting boundaries does not mean you lack empathy. It means you value your mental well-being. You can protect your energy by limiting time spent on negative conversations, declining excessive demands or unreasonable emotional burdens, interacting with draining people only in situations where you maintain control. If necessary, create distance and avoid being pulled into unhealthy emotional cycles. 3. Engage in energy-restoring habits. It's not enough to avoid energy-draining people. You must also actively recharge yourself. Just as your body needs rest after physical activity, your mind also requires renewal to maintain balance. Jung encouraged finding activities that help you feel peaceful and connected to yourself. Some powerful methods include meditation and mindfulness. Clears your mind, reduces stress, and strengthens self-awareness. Physical movement, exercise, yoga, or walking in nature helps release negative energy and revitalize your body. Creative expression, writing, painting, playing music, or engaging in any creative activity awakens joy and reconnects you with your true self. Spending time in nature, walking in the forest, sitting by the ocean, or simply breathing fresh air can naturally restore your energy balance. By making these habits a regular part of your life, you fortify yourself against negativity and maintain emotional resilience. 4. Confront your own shadow. One often overlooked truth is that you can unknowingly drain your own energy if you avoid dealing with your unresolved emotions. Jung believed that every person has a shadow, the hidden fears, suppressed emotions, and unacknowledged desires we prefer to ignore. If you don't work on integrating your shadow, you might unconsciously be drawn to energy-draining people. You may feel compelled to help them, but in reality, you might avoid confronting your inner struggles. By actively recognizing and facing the hidden aspects of your psyche, you become emotionally stronger and less vulnerable to external negativity. Practicing self-reflection, self-awareness, and personal growth creates a powerful protective shield against the emotional exhaustion caused by others. Protecting your energy is not just an act of self-defense. It is a process of personal growth. When you understand how your energy is affected, set clear boundaries, practice self-renewal, and confront your shadow, you will no longer feel trapped in draining relationships. Instead, you will become someone who can maintain inner balance, connect with people who bring positive value, and build a life full of vitality and strength. Always remember that your energy is a precious resource that cannot be easily restored if you allow it to be drained without protection. It is not just the fuel for your thoughts, creativity, and connection with the world, but also the core of your inner balance and happiness. You have the right to preserve your energy because no one else can decide how it is used. You are not obligated to exhaust yourself for those who bring negativity or constantly seek to drain your life force. Not everyone deserves your time, attention, and mental space. Be selective in choosing relationships that bring balance and nourishment to your soul. Cherish and protect your energy, because once you learn how to safeguard it, you will no longer be drawn into toxic relationships. Instead, you will have the strength to live freely, passionately, and meaningfully.